Hey, welcome back to that 70s card show. I'm your host, John Keating, and I thank you for joining me as I take a look back at the cards and the culture of the very colorful 1970s. We'll revisit a more simple time in our hobby by taking a deep dive into the sets and the stats with a generous amount of dad facts sprinkled in. That 70s card show is currently sponsored by nobody. If you have a comment or suggestion, I urge you to drop me a line at that70scardShow@gmail.com. Twitter at 70s Card or that 70s Card Show on the YouTube. This is your episode 61, and it is week one, NFL 2022. The JV plays on Thursday night, so I'm a little geeked up for this Sunday of football. A little background on me. I spent first half of my life completely engrossed in baseball up until the strike year of 1994. My last memory of being a real rabid baseball fan was the 93 Phillies, and that season almost ended well, but not quite. Then the strike happened. I dove headlong into football, turned my attention to Eagles. I was living in Baltimore in the mid to late 90s, and my brother Joseph lived about a half an hour away. I think my other brother might have lived in Michigan at the time, but Joe and I would go up to Eagles games. I had season tickets for many, many, many years, and I bought in hook, line, and sinker. I had DirecTV Sunday package because I could watch the away games from Baltimore on my satellite dish. So good times there. The Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2018 and kind of turned my attention towards Manchester City and Premier League soccer at that point. So baseball fan, baseball card collector, huge football fan, fantasy football, all that jazz. Never really collected football. Watch English soccer now, particularly Man City. Don't collect soccer, so I don't understand that. I don't watch any baseball yet. I collect baseball, and I still watch football and soccer, and don't collect football and soccer. So very bizarre, I know. And I guess you're wondering if you're watching on YouTube about my headwear. This is a Philadelphia Eagles football helmet from about the 1970s. I got this helmet moonlighting, one of my past, present, and former vocations is working in TV and film. So early 2000s, 2004, somewhere around that 2005, they filmed the movie Invincible, starring 5'2" Mark Wahlberg as 6'2" Vince Papale in his miraculous 30-year-old rookie season in 1976. While working on this film, my boss, we call them gaffers in that business, wheeled something out of the locker room after a scene and gave me something that was in a towel. Says, "Don't open this till you get to your car." And this is what was in it: a kicker / punter helmet, one single bar, Philadelphia Eagles official helmet worn in the movie The Invincible. So look at me. I'll probably take this off around 8 o'clock tonight, I imagine. So what is this episode about? Episode 61, I Need You. So we're going to talk a little bit about football here in a minute, but this is the best time of year, as we know. Spring is great. Summer's great. I love winter. But September and October in the mid-Atlantic to Northeast region of the United States of America, just a wonderful, wonderful time. It's kind of what I spend the other 10 months waiting for, to tell you the truth. So we're going to talk football on this week one, but I'm going to read you a little story here, if I may. This is from some website. I'm going to try to put my glasses on, go all Chuck Muncie on us here, see if I can even do this without killing myself. All right, here's the story, folks. It began in 1997. Grocery stores in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, about 45 minutes from Philadelphia. Not exactly true. Bucks County actually butts up against Philadelphia. Anyway, Bucks County stores were reporting the same things to their distributors. Loaf after loaf of Freihofer's bread destroyed. Boxes of Archway cookies rendered unsaleable. The distributors feared sabotage, believing that these foods were damaged by competitors who were looking for any advantage they could find. For 2 years, the attacks on gluten continued. Retailers, distributors, and seemingly everyone else was at a loss to the culprit or motive. Toward the end of 1999, one of the cookie companies decided enough was enough. At the cost of over 5,000 US dollars, the cookie company outfitted one of the retailers with surveillance equipment, hoping to get to the bottom of the caper. They did not find corporate saboteurs. What they found was a regular guy, regular except for a unique habit. That guy was overeager shopper named Samuel Feldman. Over the 2-year period noted above, in the words of the Philadelphia Inquirer, the 30-something-year-old Feldman knowingly poked and prodded baked goods to the point that the goods became permanently damaged. And it wasn't a loaf of Wonder Bread here or some English muffins there. Over 2 years, Feldman single-handedly, he probably used both hands, destroyed 175 bags of bagels, 227 bags of potato dinner rolls, and 3,087 bags of sliced bread of various varieties, in total worth roughly 7,000 US dollars. Oh, and he also happened to destroy $800 worth of cookies, acts which collectively earned him the nicknames the Bread Squeezer and the Cookie Crumbler. Feldman was charged with 2 counts of criminal mischief, each carrying a maximum penalty of $500 fine and 6 months in prison. He pled not guilty and claimed that, in the words of his attorney, he was just a picky shopper, but the jury didn't see it that way, convicting him on both counts. The court, hopefully in realizing how ridiculous it'd be to send a serial bread squeezer to prison, gave him 90 days probation instead. The court did, however, fine Feldman the maximum $1,000, with $500 going to each of the 2 distributors affected. For his part, Feldman acknowledged he probably shouldn't be destroying bags of bread and that he probably can't help himself. As the Philadelphia Inquirer further reported, Feldman stated that he's not going to go to the grocery store alone anymore. Anytime I go shopping, my wife will supervise and will be with me. So that was from nowiknow.com, the great bread squeezing crime spree of the 1990s. So there you have it. What we're going to talk about here is Wonder Bread. And Wonder Bread produced a wonderfully simple and tiny, compact series of cards for the football players of the early to mid 1970s. 74, 75, and 76 Wonder Bread produced 3 sets that kind of ran in parallel in 74 and 75 with another company called Town Talk Bread. I first came upon these cards in a collection that I bought. There was a couple of the 1970, I guess there's 76 cards, and then a couple of the 74s. I've since purchased most of the 74s. So away we go. I'm going to read a little bit about these cards. That article written in Sports Collectors Daily in 2021 by Bob DeAngelo. So we'll take a little spin around the 74 through 75 through 76 Wonder Bread / Town Talk cards. And my face mask keeps hitting my microphone. I apologize to everybody. Ow, that hurt. Anyway, per the Sports Collectors Daily article by Bob DeAngelo, the cards were inserted in packages of bread, 1 per loaf, although it wasn't uncommon to see the packaging machine mistakenly slip in a few extras. Collectors in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania were able to find cards in bags of Town Talk Bread. 1974, there were 30 cards in the sets, with players from 18 different teams represented. The cards were either red or yellow borders with photographs of the player either in post, action shots, or large mug shots. There are no team logos appearing in any of the photographs. Topps used its 1971 design on the Wonder Bread cards that first year, but gave the bread company an exclusive look in each of the following 2 years of promotion. Again, no logos, kind of the way it went in the 70s with Topps and the NFL, kind of in a what we would call a Mexican standoff. I'm not sure what that means, but it's fun to say. 1975, Topps and Wonder returned with a smaller 24 card set, but some new names were added. The emergence of the Pittsburgh Steelers was apparent with Franco Harris, Jack Ham, and L.C. Greenwood included in the set. Cards featured borders of blue or red with a large close-up color shot of the player. Again, there are no visible team logos on the cards. The backs are again in black and white and contain player statistics and a short biography. I'll go over some more of the intricacies of these sets after I'm done reading this article here. Again, 75 backs also featured several quiz questions, with some of them general and others specific to the player featured on the cards. What is a bread and butter play, for example? Or how many straight seasons has Franco Harris led the Steelers in rushing? Yeah, pretty cool. The answers were printed upside down beneath the questions, and Harris and Bob Greasy are the key cards in the set. There was an option to acquire a playbook that included black and white images of each card, a creed for young players to follow, and some games. So in 1976, Wonder Bread won it alone. There was no Town Talk set in 1976. For 76, Topps and Wonder Bread stayed with 24 cards. The cards from this set are easier to find than the previous 2 years. And I'll go over some pricing in a bit, and it really shows a drop off the cliff on pricing. The card fronts, again, employ a blue and red frame. The blue bordered cards feature players on offense, with the red border are used for defensive stars. Like the 75 set, player photos are large, close-up shots in color. The difference from the previous two sets is that the player's name appears beneath his photo in a slanted ribbon-type design. The players' names were above their photos in the 74 and 75 sets, by the way. The card backs include biological, boy, that'd be scary, biographical information, but the backs are dominated by Hank Stram's favorite plays. The plays are diagrammed and numbers are assigned to players to show that they are supposed to do what they are supposed to do on the play to make it successful. That is the perfect avenue for Stram, whose 65 toss power trap play in Super Bowl I is legendary and remains a YouTube favorite. So the 76 set was available in large uncirculated quantities in the years following the promotion. A little bit about the Town Talk. Town Talk bread cards are harder to find than Wonder Bread cards due to their regional status, and it's difficult in the 1974 set to distinguish between Wonder and Town Talk cards. We'll go over that as well. Town Talk cards in the 74 are blank at the top of the card above the serial number. Above the card number. The Wonder Bread cards feature a line that reads Wonder Bread All-Star Series, bracketed by 3 stars on each side. For the last 2 years of the set, Town Talk All-Stars appeared in the card back, also bracketed by 3 stars. So let me see here. I'm pretty sure there's no 76 Town Talk set. At least there isn't one listed on TCDB. So that may have been a typo in the in that article. But anyway, let's look at some of these cards if you don't mind. The packaging, very interesting. Just throw them in a plastic bag with the bread, right? So you figure if the bread didn't get damaged, the card wouldn't get damaged. Again, a playbook featured in I believe the 76 year. You could get a playbook with all that wonderful Hank Stram information and pictures of the cards. Town Talk had a little tab there, as if you're watching, with the Pro Football trading card inside, specially marked loaves of Town Talk bread with how to play tips. That was from the 1974 issue. So yeah, let's take a look at the. Let's see here. I guess we'll take a look at 1970. We'll look at the 74 backs, and as the article mentioned, the Town Talk in 74 had no designation as to who was supplying you these football cards. The Wonder Bread clearly said Wonder Bread All-Star Series above the biographical information or the vital statistics of the player. What I love about the 74 set is the bread with the bread loaves or slices of bread lined up behind them in the upper left contain the card number. This is a black box that has that information in it, has the player's name in bold, their team name, the Packers cornerback for Ken Ellis with position, height, weight, school, first pro season designation, what year that was, their birth date, and their home. Below that would be some statistical information. And this is where the fun begins. So Ken Ellis is card number 6, and Ken Ellis will half the back of his card is dedicated to telling you how to field a bad snap. For instance, when a bad snap comes from the center, drop to one knee and be sure to have your body serve as a backstop for the ball in case you do not field it cleanly. If you are going to bail out of a bad situation, first you must catch the ball and be sure it does not go past you for added loss of yardage. Bottom of these cards feature the copyright of the Topps Chewing Gum Company, and they are printed in the USA up there in northern Pocono, Pennsylvania area for sure. No player association or NFL, of course, trademark on these cards. Still was kind of the wild, wild west back then. So the backs, I know we're doing the back first, but the backs are pretty cool. I'll tell you about some of the tips you can have here, and I'm going off my set here. How to throw a pitch out, how to punt, how to field a low throw, how to employ a cross body block, how to catch a pass, how to throw a shovel pass, how to straight arm, how to employ a shoulder block, how to throw a jump pass, how to employ a running shoulder block, which is different than card number 23. Card number 21 is telling you how to do it while you're in motion. Card 20 will tell you how to approach the ball for a kick. You can learn how to signal for a fair catch, how to tackle the passer, which is kind of cool because this card has the pass rusher as number 78, yet the pass thrower is wearing number 75 in the picture. How to employ a screen block, how to receive a face pass. Not sure what a face pass is. How to take a 2-point stance, how to take a 3-point stance, how to employ a shoulder tackle, how to receive a ball from center, how to receive a pitch out, how to employ a side tackle, how to set up to pass, how to grip a football, and how to hold for placement. So you can pretty much learn how to play football in 1974 by buying a bunch of Wonder Bread and going for it. So let's look at the 71 fronts of Topps, and let's look at the 74 fronts of Wonder Bread. Essentially the same design minus the Fugazi team logo on there. Obviously the Topps back then was not allowed to use the NFL logos. They didn't have an agreement with them, so they made up their own darn logos. That is missing in the 74 Wonder Bread set. Let's see what else we have here. Got a world of things going on here. The 74 set, which is the primary focus here, I guess, features 14 Hall of Famers, including Willie Brown, Larry Zonka, Bob Greasy, Chris Hanberger, Winston Hill, Jim Johnson, Paul Krause, Willie Lanier, Tom Mack, Jim Otto, the Honorable Alan Page, Eugene Upshaw, Paul Warfield, and Ron Yeri. Obviously, these are standard size cards, 2.5 by 3.5. Boy, they're just beautiful, colorful cards. I think my opinion is 50s, 60s, and into the 70s. I think football won the design wars against baseball many times over, truth be told. Let's talk a little bit about the good here. We're going to do a quick episode because I got some football to watch. So the good here would be Jim Otto, wonderful Jim Otto with his big shoulder pads and his little thingy around his neck to prevent him from getting a something something. He's depicted 00, ready to snap that ball. Tom Mack is getting jiggy with it there for the Rams. Happy as can be. His hair looks great. His mustache looks great. And his moves look great for sure. He's happy to be either starting practice or finishing practice. And he can't really stifle his emotions. Larry Zonka is in full bloom as someone who is either standing on the sideline or on the bench. Eye black has run down his face, the original John Randall, I guess you could call it. And you would think there'd be eye black on his cheeks, but that's actually his mutton chops, full head of hair going every which way, and a big old mustache. So Larry Zonka, um, obviously, this is the tail end of the Miami Dolphins dynasty. So Larry Zonka is probably breathing out a big sigh of relief. Let's talk about, I guess, the bad. The bad, we're going to talk about our Stone cousins, Bill Bradley of the Eagles and Bob Tucker of the Giants. These guys most likely bought you your first underage six-pack of beer, or perhaps even worse, made you put your lips to a marble little thing and inhale. So that's Bill Bradley and Bob Tucker. Boy, really having a negative influence on youth growing up, I'm sure. Drunk uncles here, we got a couple of them. JERREL Wilson of the Chiefs, he's a punter. Looks pretty slick there. Perhaps he's your aunt's second husband. I'm not sure. And Paul Krause is a heck of a player, but boy, I don't want to be I don't want to be on an unsupervised weekend with him. Safety, wearing number 22, which is half of what JERREL Wilson's 44 is. So questionable characters both there, and I wouldn't be caught with either one of them, to tell you the truth, without further supervision. Let's talk a little bit about pricing here on these sets, if you don't mind. The 74, of course, is 30 cards, as we said. It's the first year of the Wonder Bread cards. Total value says it's $66, and that's 30 cards. So you divide 66 by 30, and you get $2.20 as the average value. Complete set will run you $25 to $50. I found one on eBay that sold July 22nd that was $80 sale price, $12 for shipping. So that's a $91.99 investment. Probably, I don't know whether that includes tax or not, but that's pretty expensive considering Beckett says 20 to 40. But keep in mind, though, condition is pretty rough on these earlier sets because I believe they might have been just in available in the Wonder Bread packages. Although my spiritual advisor, Mark Hoyle, told me that I think it was something that he had to send in a couple proofs of purchase and like $3 or $4, and he got the whole set. I don't know whether that's 74, but I imagine that those things came out pristine if that's the case. So pretty impressive, Mark Hoyle. There is the next year, 75, $46.75 is the total value with an average value of $1.95. Of course, those are 24 cards in there. So those sets can be had between $20 and $40. I didn't do any research on those. I probably should, but it probably got easier to get those, as we say. 76 was a flat out cratering of the bread card industry with the total value of the 24 cards being $10.45, 44 cents per card. complete set, $2.50 to $5. So if you were stocking up on 76 Wonder Breads by then, obviously you were taking a bath. Town Talk, obviously a little more rare as a regional set. Going to cost you a little bit more money to get those. So anyway, that's that. Let's look at the. I guess we can look at the 75, 75 version, right? So we saw the 74 version. Looks a lot like the 71, 75 version. I've got LC Greenwood pictured, his name again above his picture. He's in a nice pose. He's going to rough somebody up even if he doesn't have a helmet on. Steelers defensive end, .AFC, big star at the bottom left. On the back of the card, again, these are the trivia questions. Wonder Bread All-Star Series up top with stars. The Town Talk at this point would have had Town Talk Bread above the player's name and biographical information. They learn their mistakes from the previous year. And 6 questions here. Let's go lightning round here. Why is signal jamming used by the defensive team? The answer to that is to continue the offense, to confuse the offensive team. Question 2 is which Pro Bowl was the first in LC Greenwood's career? The answer to that is 1974. Question 3, to avoid being blocked, may a defensive player use his hands? And 3 says, hell yes. Question 4 says, who led Steelers in quarterback sacks in 1973, and how many did he had? Well, of course, it was LC Greenwood at 8.5. Question 5, is it legal to hit the ball carrier with the forearm? Okay. They say any blow with a forearm is illegal. I'm not sure if that's still the case. Probably is, but apparently back then you couldn't use your forearm. Besides LC, who are the other members of the Steelers defensive line? Of course, it's Joe Green, Ernie Holmes, and Dwight White. So that's LC Greenwood's. Another differentiation from previous years, other than the trivia question, is the instead of the Wonder Bread, the endless stacks of Wonder Bread featuring the card number. This one has a star, similar angle as the front, kind of askew by maybe 30 degrees, and the number right in the middle of the back of the star. So a little bit different back then. These are printed on white backs, black on white. So Wonder Bread wasn't paying a lot for their cards back then. And we talked about the 71 versus 72 design. The backs of the 71 are way more intricate than the backs, obviously, of the 74 Wonder Bread. Let's move on to 76, the cheapo set, the 1988 Don Ross set of Wonder Bread cards. Again, the angled name across the bottom this time of the player featured on the card, running back, Steelers, dash AFC, not dot AFC, but dash in 76. And this is, of course, is Franco Harris, kind of a red, white, and blue theme on his card. The 1976 season, of course, that's our bicentennial year. Backs of the cards get a little bit of a revamp. We have gray and black and white now, but it's still on a white background. The biographical information is kind of on a geometric shape that isn't a square or a rectangle. It's in gray, all the printing in black, but the number shows up in a sideways football this time. And of course, appears to be no offensive stats on the back of these cards, and a good 3/5, if not 4/7 of the card is taken up with Hank Stram's favorite plays. He's the coach of the New Orleans Saints, and I have a hard time believing that he's publishing his entire playbook, but apparently that happened. So if you were an opposing team, you just needed to buy some Wonder Bread to figure out Hank Stram. And of course, Hank Stram didn't do so good with the Saints, so maybe this had something to do with it. So kind of cool. Hank Stram's favorite plays, coach New Orleans Saints. This is the sweep right, and it'll tell you how to do a sweep right. So that's it. That's the 74, 75, and 76 Wonder Breads / Town Talks football cards. I wish everybody wonderful luck this year in your fantasy leagues. I'm in a fantasy league now. It's got to be 22 years running. These are people that I met in the 90s tailgating at Eagles games, and we're still going strong. In fact, this morning at the gym at 7 a.m., I usually see one of the guys at the gym, but but the gym folks didn't show up, and so we were just chatting in the parking lot. And good to establish and maintain relationships, as we know, in the hobby, but also maybe outside of the hobby. Again, Fantasy Football League, 20 plus years strong, and this year the Keating men, 7 of us, my 2 brothers, and 4 of the next generation are in a league together for the first time, which is fun. We have an 8th member, which is a bot from NFL.com. So we'll see how we do. We have $25 each in a winner's pot. And if you lose to the bot, who's named, the bots team is named actually after my late cousin, Franny. So that's pretty fun. If you lose to the bot, you owe another $5. So that's that. Good luck in fantasy football. Good luck to all the other teams except for the Dallas Cowboys. You guys have had way too much luck in your history to begin with. So anyway, NFL 2022, Wonder Bread 74 through 76. Don't squeeze the breads in the aisles. You'll end up with possibly $1,000 fine and somebody doing you dirty on a podcast in the future. So good luck to everybody. Have a great week. I want to thank you again for joining me. I probably need to read this, right? On my journey back in time, if you have a comment or suggestion, perhaps you have another set you want me to go over and give with a fat tooth comb, give me a shout at ThatSeventiesCardShow at gmail.com, 70s Card on Twitter or YouTube, ThatSeventiesCardShow. Music in the podcast is provided by my nephew's band, Mango Safari, which no longer exists, but plays on in my heart for sure. Enjoy your collecting, and more importantly, enjoy your very own collection. Be safe. Great week. Peace out. Go Eagles.